All right,
Yeah,
great.
thank you.
Now, Senator Hall, we had a nice discussion. Full disclosure, Senator Hall is a friend of mine. We have served together, and the whole time that we've served together, he's always been very fair to me. He's always had an open door. I've always seen him be fair with people that come forward. Not that you can't be fiery occasionally, but that's the doctor of divinity, right? That's, you got to get fired up occasionally. But I've always felt that you are fair. The questions I'm going to ask you, because I represent a district that's largely agriculture, and they're concerned. They have some concerns, and they don't know you like I know you. So I would like to ask you some of these questions to get your response so
Sure.
that we can alleviate some of their concerns. So,
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
So in your opinion, what is the role of the ALRB when it comes to balancing the rights of farm workers, employers, and labor as in the mission statement?
It's just that, making sure that we are balanced and that we inform workers of their rights and that we work with the employers or the employees to make sure that they understand what their fundamental rights are as an employee. That we render decisions that are not biased, but based on solid evidence that we spoke about, I think, yesterday. That this is not a board for farm workers. This is not a board for farmers. This is a board for fairness, and the decisions that we make are rendered accordingly. The same way I have acted in 8 years of being fair and an open door is the same way that I would act and respond as a member of this board, and making sure that we do our due diligence. Again, working with farmers, working with growers, working with the farm workers for integrity and justice.
So I think part of the concern of the grower community is that this has happened pretty fast, right? You were pointing a little less than a month ago, now you're before the rules. It seems like we always go almost to the year and then we have a hearing. So this is happening very quickly, and it hasn't afforded you.
I've never sat on rules, so I don't know the process of
usually
how fast.
Usually it's like the last day and then we take them out. But
I didn't know that.
It's so because of the expedited timeline, you haven't been afforded the ability to sit down with the various groups and talk to them. And that makes them nervous because, again, they don't know you like we know you. So will you commit? And I think you said in your opening statement, just again, to once this is finished, to sit down with the growers and get to know their issues, like Ms. Montgomery mentioned, getting to know them. Again, look, I want you to be unbiased, which I believe that you are, but in order to truly be a good decision maker, you've got to see both sides. So will you commit to sitting with these folks?
I promise you that you'll have a great report in return of my outreach to the growers, my visitation to their respective farms. I spoke with some last night, some that perhaps are in opposition. And even though that they are in opposition, I still will be there. And I'll still go and visit with them and continue to represent and do the job that I'm supposed to do. When I was an elected official, some people voted for me and some people didn't. But I still represented them, and I still showed up. And I still fought for them, and I still advocated for them, and I'll be doing the same thing as a member of the board.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I know there's been some attacks on you since your name has been brought forward, but look, we're all in this business, right? That's what happens, we get attacked, and I appreciate your willingness to let that go and truly see their side of it, that they are nervous. I mean, honestly, the board, in my view, is not supposed to be, it's supposed to be 2 for the employees, 2 for the employers, and then a public member. And right now, it's uneven. It has been unbalanced for a while. And so I'm hopeful that the governor, with his next appointment, will put somebody on there that has an agricultural background so that at least we can get the scales tilted a little bit. So I appreciate your willingness to let that go and then really get to know their issues.
Absolutely. If God forgives, why can't I?
You're not God.
Right.
Yeah, I understand that. It's harder for elected officials. But okay, I appreciate that. And so another issue, I think, with the growers, is that, look, you in office, you were very much pro-union, right? And so if you look at some of the items that you supported or you co-authored, card check was one of them a few times, One was, let's see, overtime bill was another one. And so, again, that was your district and you voted your district, but this position it's no longer, it's a judicial, really, right? Quasi-judicial role. It's not a political role. And so they're nervous because of your background. Plus, on the ground farms issue, and we've talked about that a lot, and I know that stirs emotions on both sides, but it's I think it's an issue that's important. And when the LA City Council adopted a resolution, really, very inflammatory in my view, going after this particular grower, there was a march and you were at the march. You didn't sign on to the resolution, but you were there. And so I don't know what the status of that is. I think it's in the courts. I don't know if it's going to go back to the ALRB or not. But if it does come back to the ALRB because of the strong positions that you've taken that really have been against ground farms, how would you respond? Would you recuse yourself? How can you put that stuff behind you and moving forward?
Thank you for that. Again, I think the governor and his wisdom and his belief in me, that I would be a fair and just member of the board, that I will make decisions based on their merit, that I would not be biased in my decision making. I think that any decision that comes before the board will get 100% of my undivided attention, and a decision made based on the merits of the case. I cannot say that I'm going to vote this way or that way just because I supported someone 5 years ago. It doesn't work that way. That's not the work that I'm supposed to be doing here. I'm supposed to be making unbiased decisions, and that's what I plan to do. With recusing myself, if the courts bring the case back to the board, I don't think that is an issue that I'll have to deal with. I never signed a resolution. I never was part of a signatory, if you will, to support or to go against any company that we're representing today. Yep. And so I don't think that recusing myself would even be a thought.
Okay. So just last question, I guess, is that, again, my history with you is long. It's longer than most of the folks in here.
Right.
And it's my hope if you get this appointment that we can just continue, hopefully our friendship lasts a long time, but our working relationship is such that I can call you and talk to you occasionally. If the growers are concerned about something, again, you've always had an open door policy, and I hope that we can continue to do that.
I would love that.
Okay.
I would love that. And again, as I mentioned before, Senator, if there's a grower there and they have a concern, I would love for you to call me, and I'd love to sit down with them, and perhaps maybe you can join in on that conversation as a conduit, if you will, to ascertain their concerns and be able to bring some resolution to it.
All right.
And we'll be even willing, if you will, to take some tours with me as well.
Great. Thank you very much, Senator.
Thank you.
Right.
And